Hello, Mitchell. How you doing today?
I'm just waiting for season 5 Rick and Morty to come out sometime this year. How
Sometime.
about you?
I've been waiting for Black Widow to come out. It's been over a year now, so
Oh, bro, you better keep on waiting.
they don't want to do a hybrid release, so it's gonna be a long time. But
Yeah,
anyways, we're gonna learn how to ace online classes since I think I
bro,
told everyone that I was taking 3 online classes all at once plus rotations, so that's like 30 some credits.
you were taking two psych class and one physics, correct?
Yeah, on top of my rotations, which are 5 credits each as well. So we'll get into those. So the first tip is pacing. Do you have any pacing tips?
Um, you can like walk back and forth and then you're pacing.
I mean
I'm
that,
just
that that
joking.
helps
I'm
me.
joking.
That helps me when I do Anki.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on the right corner it tells you the time, so you can kind of pace yourself.
Yeah, I mean I walk around with Anki when I do that. But for pacing, you really need to figure out like how much time each assignment's going to take you though. So you look at your syllabus. So I was 5 weeks behind for physics two, and I was 5 weeks
What?
behind for developmental psychology.
Oh my. Okay.
But I knew I could get stuff. I got 5 labs and 5 quizzes done one night for physics.
How
Got
like
100 and
what?
everything.
When you say one night, you mean like it took you 8 hours of the night or like 5 hours of the night?
It was an entire day, so I pretty much started at 6 a.m. to about 7 p.m.
So 12 hours.
Yeah, but I knew I could do it though, because for in pharmacy school we do classes and we do an entire 9 weeks class in about 4 or 5 weeks, sometimes 2 weeks. So like I knew I could do that. So like I knew my
Mm-hmm.
pacing's able to do it.
All right. So if you're listening to this and you can't do that,
Don't do that.
don't. Yeah.
But
Well,
knowing
you
like
give it
how
a
much you
try.
can pace though, like I knew I could do 5 weeks material in one night because I do that all the time.
Piece of
But
material one night, bro. You are like just
But
go on.
developmental psychology is essays, so I type essays during my rotation because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit here during meetings, and there's nothing else to do except listen to meetings. So I'm gonna type my essays during the meetings, which I'm pacing myself and multitasking at the same time. So I'm like, okay, after I do this, I'm gonna go home and
Which you're
maybe study
really not
physics.
supposed to do.
I didn't try on those essays, and I still got 100.
Wow.
So online classes, I recommend UNE Online, not sponsored or anything. They're like $1,000 for a
Hey,
class.
hey, if you're listening to this 2 years in the future, please sponsor us.
I've taken 4 classes through them now, so
Dude, I'm down with getting another degree. I don't like if you sponsor us.
but yeah, their classes are pretty simple. As long as you do the assignments and everything, you're fine.
Yeah,
Good to go.
I thought about taking a class through them because you were talking to me about it.
Yeah, I got like a 90 in physics, 90 in abnormal, and an 89.75 in developmental. I'm still mad about that. But anyway,
Your professor might not round it.
I don't know if I can figure out where the final grades are, so oh well. I'll see when I get my thing sent to AMCAS. But anywho, do you do Anki or do you not do Anki? As you know on this channel, we're big supporters of Anki. Now, I didn't do Anki for these classes. I know, bad me, I know.
Wait, I
But
thought you were doing Anki for these classes.
I did for a while, then I realized there was no point once I realized what the quiz material was tested on.
Ah.
Because I realized the chapters I was given were about 40 pages long, and
Mm-hmm.
she'd pick maybe about 3 pages out of the 40 pages to test you on.
What?
She basically picked the big idea, so like a disease state. She
Right.
asked like what disease state it was and how you treat it. She didn't care about
Mm.
all the fluff in there. I mean, the fluff's important if you want to be a psychologist and you know how the brain works, what neurotransmitters are up, down, etc. But once I figured out how the quizzes were, I knew what to study for like the other stuff. But the final was 400-page book. It was one, so I didn't
Whew.
Anki it, but Anki wouldn't help me because I'd have been too focused on the details, and the details wouldn't matter for that class. Like knowing all the stages of Erickson's psychological phases, like trust versus mistrust. That was on there. That's important at Anki. Like I Anki'd that because I knew that was on the MCAT, but I didn't Anki everything else. So you have to figure out like if you need to do it or not, if you need it for long term, if it's going to be good for life, maybe Anki it. If not, just go through it real quick. That makes sense to you? Do you think I confuse people?
What?
I just went on a rant.
No, it made sense to me.
I just hope people
if
don't
it-
like get the bad feel that I hate Anki now. It's like, oh, I love Anki.
No, yeah, no. I mean, dude, I love Anki. Um, I feel like that's the future of learning spaced repetition. Well,
I mean,
calling.
I do space repetition though, even without Anki, it just wasn't Anki.
Okay.
So that goes into how I studied. So I basically took my iPad out, I pulled up the chapter on my screen, and I wrote out the big ideas. I didn't write everything out word for word. I basically wrote for physics 2, I wrote out equations, and that was it. Equations and ideas that explain the equations. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Got an A in physics from that. Compared to my physics 1 where I got a like 78%.
On that one. Yeah.
I got 78% of physics 1 because I used Anki the entire time. I just focused on all the details instead of just the main ideas.
Yo, I still remember my physics professor who, like, I cannot understand a word what he was saying. Not only because he had a heavy accent, but also because I like his way of teaching was just like out of this fucking planet.
Yeah, OpenStax is a good physics book you can follow. It's free to use, so go there and look at the physics book.
Ooh. Everyone that you're listening to this, go to OpenStax.
They have books for a lot of other classes that are free. It's actually really helpful.
OpenStax homepage. Ooh. OpenStax.org?
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow.
So it's really helpful.
Ooh. You know what? You listening to this? Go there right now. You will not regret it.
But for psychology, I kind of the same thing. I wrote down like the main disease states and kind of matched up. Or like for developmental is more of like stages. So like
developmental, yes.
So it's more of like, okay, you're old. Now what changed in that stage? So when you're old, and you get to the 65 age range, it's like gray hair, your metabolism slowing down, stuff you already know about, but that was what I tested on. And knowing whose theories was whose theories and what the theories actually did, that was the entire test. So
that's like a I mean, you're gonna find it in some of the similar questions of Anki, but like yeah.
Like if you study for the MCAT, you know like people's theories are super important. If you don't know whose theory is what, you're probably gonna fail it.
Yep.
That's like the entire like 300-page document of psychology or whatever it is now. So to summarize my studying, it was mostly just big ideas, wrote them out, and then after I was done writing them out, I closed my iPad off and tried to read them out to myself without looking at it.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea to do. Yeah.
And then when I'd be driving to my rotation, which is like a 40-minute drive, I'd be saying my notes back to myself if I remembered them. It's like, hey, I remembered this person's theory is that, and that theory, oh, I forgot that one. I make a mental check of that when I got to my rotation. I figured out what it was.
Now, for everyone that is listening, this was not a Zoom class. This was a do as you have a set time and you can finish it before or during that set time. And everything was online, right?
Yeah, so you can pretty much do like 1 week. You can do about like probably as many weeks material as you want, whenever you want. So like as I said before, in one day I did 5 weeks of physics 2.
I had one of those classes during winter time, and it was not a good time. I don't like him, but if you're listening to this and you want to give it a try, at least take one. Or if you like pain like Zach does and you want to take 3 at the same time, so
But I had to take 3 at the same time for med school.
Yeah.
I did better at taking 3 classes at the same time, plus rotations, than I did taking 1 class when I was off.
Yeah, that's bad.
It makes 0 sense whatsoever. But for point 4, how I review before exams was mostly I'd have a sheet of my summaries, and I'd walk away and say it to myself without looking at it, and I'd go for a walk outside or something, And if I can't figure it out, I'm sitting down in front of that screen, writing out the main ideas real quick. Very shorthand notes. So I wouldn't write out full sentences. I'd write like Bob. I write like one word of the theory that would pop out like the main idea of it. It kind of makes 0 sense, but that's what I did.
Bob.
Yeah. Bob mistrust.
Right.
And then I'd be like, okay, Bob did mistrust, and that blah 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 blah. That's what mistrust is. But having self-discipline is very important. If you don't have self-discipline, I do not recommend online classes at all.
If you don't have self-discipline, you gotta find it. If you can't find it, you have to make it.
Yeah. So, because
Yes,
without
because
self-discipline, I would
to
have failed these
have
classes.
yeah, to take an online class, if you can't do this, if you can't have self-discipline, like Zach's saying, you're gonna struggle or you're gonna fail.
I work better with very close deadlines, so like having physics due in like a week before I finished it. That was a close deadline, so I worked better then. But that's all I got. You want to add anything else to it?
No, I think you did a good review of how to ace your online classes. I think this was good.
I still been confused anyone on the Anki and non-Anki stuff. I still like Anki. I still just space repetition. It just wasn't worth making the flashcards for me for everything.
Yeah, you have to pick and choose your battles. So Anki's not gonna work for everything, but where it works and when it works, it works. So
See you next one, guys. I won't go back to Mars. Sorry. Bye bye.